Have you ever felt like some people are just born creative and you're not one of them? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into John Adair's The Art of Creative Thinking to show you why that's just not true. We're going to look at creativity not as some kind of magic, but more like a garden, something anyone can learn to cultivate, one idea at a time.
So, let's start with the big question. Where do great ideas really come from? Is it some lightning bolt of inspiration that just strikes a lucky genius out of the blue? According to John Adair, that's a total myth. And honestly, it might be the very thing that's holding you back. To really get this, check out this powerful idea from Henry Ford. The concept is actually pretty simple. Creativity isn't about making something out of nothing. All the raw materials, the ideas, the facts, the concepts, they're already out there. They're just waiting for someone to connect them. What this means is that the real art isn't about conjuring ideas from thin air. It's about seeing new and valuable connections between things that already exist. Your job as a creative thinker isn't to be a magician, it's to be a master connector.
Okay, so if we're going to cultivate ideas, where do we start? Well, just like in gardening, we start by preparing the soil. This first part is all about getting into the right creative mindset, because let's face it, without fertile ground, no seed is ever going to grow. So what's the number one thing that hardens that soil and stops new ideas in their tracks? It's our own hidden assumptions. These preconceived notions are like invisible fences we build around our thinking, usually without even knowing we're doing it. They're the very first barriers we have to knock down.
You've probably seen this before, right? The 9-dot puzzle. It's a classic for a reason. It's way more than just a little brain teaser. It's the perfect exercise for showing us the invisible walls of our own assumptions.
So here's the challenge. 4 straight lines, and you can't lift your pencil from the page. Go on, take a second and think about it. Now, most people's first few attempts all stay neatly inside that little square that the dots make. But was that ever a rule? And here is the solution. The big aha moment happens when you realize the lines have to go beyond the imaginary box that our minds automatically create. And that's the whole point. The biggest constraint wasn't in the rules of the puzzle, it was inside our own heads. Now, breaking out of those mental boxes takes more than just a clever trick. It really requires a specific kind of mindset. The poet John Keats actually had a name for it: negative capability. It's basically the skill of just being able to wait, to sit with the discomfort of not knowing the answer, and just letting a problem breathe without rushing to the first easy solution that comes to mind. And this idea of waiting and being patient ties right into suspending your judgment. As the writer Johann Schiller said, you have to switch off your inner critic, especially in the beginning. The goal isn't to get the perfect idea, the goal is to get a lot of ideas. Let all of them, the good, the bad, the totally crazy ones, just rush in first. There's plenty of time to judge them later. Okay, so the soil of our mind is prepared. It's fertile, it's ready. Now it's time to actually start planting some seeds. This next part is all about the active, daily habits you can build to start gathering the raw materials for your creative work.
Adair lays out 4 simple but really powerful habits, and they're all about intake. It starts with just actively observing the world around you and really listening with genuine curiosity. Then, it's about feeding your mind by reading all sorts of different things. But the most critical step, the one that ties it all together, is the last one. You have to capture everything you find. And here's why that's so important. The notebook isn't just a storage bin for facts. Adair calls it a seed bed. Think about it. It's a place where a random quote you read can sit right next to a weird conversation you overheard, and maybe months later, those 2 totally unrelated seeds might just cross-pollinate and grow into a breakthrough idea.
So you've prepared the soil, and you've planted the seeds. What's next? This is where we get into what I think is John Adair's most powerful concept: learning to trust your depth mind to do the hard work of letting those ideas grow.
So what is the depth mind? Well, it's basically your subconscious, but reframed as an active and purposeful partner. It's not just some messy closet where you shove forgotten memories. It's a workshop that is constantly sorting, analyzing, and connecting ideas for you even when you're not paying attention.
This fantastic quote from the novelist C.S. Forester just paints the perfect picture of how this works. You drop an idea, a piece of timber, into your subconscious. You might even forget about it. And then, when you pull it up later, it's grown barnacles, new connections, new angles, a whole new life of its own.
Let's just compare the 2 for a second. Your conscious mind is great for focused analysis and logic. It works through pure effort. But your depth mind? It specializes in synthesis and intuition. It does its best work through incubation. When you're relaxed or focused on something else.
This means you can't force a creative breakthrough. You have to create the right conditions for one to just show up.
And history is absolutely filled with proof of this. The revolutionary float process for making glass? That came to its inventor while he was washing dishes. Elias Howe solved the problem of the sewing machine needle after having a dream about spears. James Watt had his big breakthrough for the steam engine while he was just out for a casual Sunday walk.
So how do you put this incredible powerhouse to work for you? Rudyard Kipling sums it up perfectly. After you've done the hard, conscious work of gathering all your information, you have to learn to drift, wait, and obey. In other words, let go, trust the process, and be ready to write down the idea when it finally surfaces.
All right, we've prepared the soil, we've planted the seeds, and we've trusted the mysterious process of growth. Now it is finally time for the harvest, time to bring it all together.
So, if you take only one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. Creativity is not some magical power that you either have or you don't. It is a process. It's a set of mindsets and habits. And most importantly, it's a practical, learnable skill that you can intentionally cultivate, just like a garden.
The entire creative process, every great invention or work of art, it all begins with a single seed. So, my question to you is, what will yours be? Based on what we've just talked about, what's one observation you can make, one question you can ask, or one quick note you can jot down right now to get your own creative garden started?